Happy New Year! I hope your 2023 is going to be the best 2023 possible. And guys, we're alive. We made it out of 2022. Can we just. I mean, I'm not even being funny. 2022 was a little bit hard for me personally. I had some family members very, very close that almost died. My dad had a couple brain aneurysms, and one of my sisters was shot in the head, and both of them are alive today. And I actually credit their miracles for this segment. God had already put on my heart to use my platform to glorify Him, okay? I was already in the midst of that. And when both of my family members that for no medical reason made it, it really solidified me doing this. So this segment, welcome, is called God Moves. And I really wanted to showcase that God still moves today the same way He moved back then. That He moves, He's active, the miracles happen. So you guys will be seeing interviews in this segment from just regular people telling you how God moved in their lives. And I promise you that He moves for you too. And He moves for me. And so maybe you don't realize it, but it is true. And I hope you, through this segment, you guys come to realize that. And so we are going to kick it all off with mine. I'm very nervous. I don't talk about my past. I always said that if I had a past, like if I had to pick a, color out of the Crayola box and describe my past, it would be brown, just doo-doo brown, okay? Just crap. That would be my past. And I don't like to think about those times. I really don't, but they made me who I am today. And so I, for a period of time did not believe in God. And I'm very religious. I always knew there was a God, but then there was a time where I was like, yeah, no. If there cannot be a God, because if there is, He truly hates me. And so I'd rather Him just not exist, not be, it just can't be real. Otherwise, why would He let things happen the way He does? And I know a lot of people struggle with that question. And the one thing that I've always felt, not up until recently, is abandoned. That's a huge segment of my life. Abandonment issues, daddy issues, just issues in general, you name it. And knowing from the realization of where I felt majority of my life abandoned to realizing that He never left me, that God was with me the entire time, even when I thought I was alone, I wasn't, and how He corrected my path. Guys, I'm sitting here talking to you about God. This is someone who didn't believe in God. Who stopped believing in God. I'm sitting here, with owning Flipside mentorship for kids, right? And wanting to be a mentor in children's lives. This is somebody who first off, I love being a mom. It is one of the biggest blessings in my life. It is the most enrichment. My kids, they're everything to me. Everything. And once upon a time, who had kids? Tisha? That was me. I was that person that, no, I don't want to hold your baby. Ew. Don't even go there. What are you talking about? I was invisible girl. I just like to just be disappeared. Nobody knows my name. I'm on YouTube videos. People come up to me like, "Oh, I watch your videos." I'm like, what? Me? You have to understand where I was and where I am is I'm blown away. And not because I'm oh, I'm a good person. No, I'm blown away because this is not who the heck I am. This is never, none of the things that I'm doing were ever goals in my life. They weren't dreams in my life. They weren't even conceptions in my life. I could never think, do you have to understand, When I was 12, I was in 8th grade. I ran away from home. And you know what my big plan is? I ran away from home with a couple of friends. Now, we did get caught by the cops, and that's a whole thing on itself. But my goal was, okay, we're going to get away and I'll just have sex for money. Yeah, prostitution. That was like literally my thing. I'm like, we'll get by. I'll just do this and it'll be fine. Really? Like, oh my God, you guys. I'm keeping it so real with you that this can only be God. But let me go ahead and back up. Like I said, a big part of my life I felt abandoned. And like my first core memory is literally me being ripped away from my biological father. I remember that clear as day. I can close my eyes, I can tell you the color of the office, the color of the desks. I can tell you the color of the carpet, like sitting here knowing like something isn't right. And I'm only like 3 or 4, you know? And I remember just, my biological father, like I said, he lost custody of me. And I remember our last hug. Like, I ran to him. I jumped. He caught me. I had my little arms around his neck. He's crying. I'm crying because I just knew for some reason that I wasn't going to see him again. And I remember being pulled, like literally hugging and literally being ripped away. That is my first memory. Also, foster care because they had to get my mom to come get me. So, in the meantime, I was in different homes. Then I came to live with my mother, which was a big transition for me. And when I lived with my mom, we had supervised visits with my biological father. P.S. You're going to meet my biological father in some of these segments because he has an amazing testimony as well. But I met, we had supervised visits and then those visits stopped. And I never knew why. Like, why did they stop? I don't understand. Why did he stop showing up for me? Also, coupled with like what I did or what do I do, or like I just kept all this guilt and all this shame for I don't remember. I don't remember life without feeling guilt and shame. Does that make sense to you? Like I I've always I remember, feeling horrible about myself my entire life. And I was the dirty kid in school. I was like tried my best just to stay invisible, keep my head down. I was not smart, like as far as like tests go and everything like that. Like I had nothing going for me and I knew it. Like literally I had no aspirations in life. And my mom wound up having to give up custody of me. And it was actually my biological father's cousin who wound up taking me in so that I would still be with family. And so he became my adopted father. And my sisters and my brother that I speak of, those are actually my cousins. But through the adoption process, they became my brothers and sisters. And I've been in their life. Like, I came with the family when I was 12. And my sister Victoria, who helps me with Flipside, you see her in lots of pictures and stuff. I'm like, she's, we were together since we were 10. My brother Austin, he was literally in diapers when I came into the family. My sisters Vivian and Vanessa, they were 6 years old, so I've been with them their whole lives. They're my brothers and my sisters, but it's just like a weird dynamic when you really think about it. And I do remember feeling like the abandonment, I would say, by my mom. Not that it was at the time. I'm sure she made the best decisions that she could. But I just had a lot of anger. And I have, on her side, 3 brothers. An older brother who was in the military in Alaska, and 2 little brothers that I loved with my whole life. And they wound up having to move away, my little brothers. And so I remember just feeling like I lost my family. Literally, my brothers were gone. My I don't live at home with my mom anymore. I don't have my friends anymore. Like, all of it was just stripped. And that's when I stopped believing that there is no possible way, no way that there could be a God. No father, no mother, no brothers, no friends, no this, no that, no future. And like, it just carried with me, even with living with my family that adopted me, my cousins. So I'm a mixed girl, mixed, black, white, and Mexican. So my biological father, you'll see him, like I said, he's mixed. My mom is Mexican. And being light skinned but living with a dark skinned family, like, I always felt like I stuck out. If I could just scrub away, because everybody would call me the white girl that didn't know me, and they'd be like, Tisha's not white. But they're like, well, she ain't black, so it gives you that whole mixed girl identity crisis. But like, I hate it. I just wanted to blend in. I hated that I stuck out in my family. Like, you will see very little pictures of me with them, only because I felt like undeserving to be there with them. Like, I felt just like crap. It's just gonna be some members of the brown color, just and thank God that God was not, he didn't just strip me from whatever my destiny would have been. Like I said, I ran away. Like, I'm glad the cops found us that day. It took a lot for me to be glad. Not the cops found us, but I am glad the cops found us, as that was the catalyst of me having to be taken from my family. Do I wish that? No. It's a lot of pain. Oh, so much pain. So much anger, so many tears, so much confusion. But I had to get off of the path that I was in. It saved my life, and it wasn't God working against me. It was God working for me. And that's scripture right there. That God, he will turn around things for your good, right? For those who love the Lord. And I didn't even know that I loved the Lord. But he saved me. He put me on a completely different path. He separated me from any influence that I had before. He took me away from everything. And like I said, I felt abandoned and I felt stripped. But I had to be stripped of the things that I was doing. I had to, if I was going to do what I have to do right now. And he gave me a new title, a new name. My husband, I wouldn't have ever met my husband if I did not get adopted with my cousins. Because we weren't slated to go to school together. We weren't, any of that. And he slowly gave me back everything that I've lost. Like, I'm in communications with my older brother again, which I love. I'm in good standing majority of my family. I met my biological father again, and I never thought we would have a good relationship. I was ashamed of him. And I was just so mean, at 12, 13, 14, 15. Those were the hardest years of my life. I was so angry, guys. I I felt nothing but self-hate, and my family couldn't get through. Like, my mom, she came and visited me a couple of times, and again, I was so nasty. I wanted her to, pierce through my armor or my walls. She didn't, and part of that maybe I deserved. Like, I don't know, if you come around someone and they seem to always hate you, maybe you stop coming around. So I can own that, but also, like, never stop trying, That's, I wish she would have pursued it. I wish I wouldn't have been so mean, but again, I was angry inside. And so I really can understand what it's like to feel all of that. I really do. Like, I know what it's like to feel unloved or forgotten or being invisible or being ashamed or being angry or just being a shell. but I also know what it's like to be filled and loved and respected and safe and a breaker of chains. You know, my sons are 9 and 6. By the time I was 6 years old, I had already been through multiple families. My kids don't know that. Thank God. You know, and I mean that. Thank God. By the time I was 6 years old, there were unspeakable things that I'm not going to speak on, like unspeakable things that have occurred that have never happened to mine. Never. And so I continue to want to break barriers through the Lord. I want to help kids who were like me, who are maybe facing anger, or, you know, they just need someone to stick it out with them. Like, I needed that. I got that through my adopted dad, who you will also meet on here, because he, again, has an amazing testimony. But, you know, I want to be what I needed when I was a kid. And I'm only able to do that through the things that I went through. And so I don't know what you're going through. I don't know at all. Like, I still remember the day that I, like, literally had a gun to my head and was like, this is it. And I don't know how, but my dad had my adopted dad had walked in right when I was, like, about to just do it. And he was like, please don't, please don't, please don't. And, like, just seeing him, like, cry and break down, it just made me start crying and break down. And, you know, I think that was like 17 at that point. But if I had pulled the trigger, I would never know that life could get better. Does that make sense? If I had, I wouldn't be able to impact others so that they know that life can get better. And that was a God move. And he's always been moving for me. I didn't know it. Now that I see it, I want to show it. And I really hope that you see it too. That bad things happen, but sometimes they happen for a reason, so that so you will be able to make a difference, or you'll be able to impact somebody, or you'll be able to change somebody's life, that somebody that needs somebody who's been through what you've been through to really understand. And I'm sorry it had to be you. Like, but you survived. You survived, and keep surviving, and trust on the Lord and talk to him. If you're angry with him, tell him you're angry with him. Seek him and you will find him. And you will be amazed of the transformation that God will do, because God moves.